A brief list of Tsugumi unanswered questions. What was she crinkling when she was sitting in the hallway in front of the generator room with Takeshi while waiting for it to cool down? What did she steal exactly from Sara in the kids' routes? Why is it important? It had an appearance like an amulet of some sort. Did, why was she wearing the mascot costume? What did she work for Lemu as the mascot? Did she literally just have that job? She had kind of an odd personality for the mascot wearer. Or was she wearing the mascot as a disguise trying to infiltrate Lemu? There is some evidence that there is some suggestion that she is actually an employee of Lemu and that she had access to the changing room and she identified the elevator that she and Takeshi got caught in as for employees only. Maybe she was trying to pretend like she was trying to make Takeshi believe she was an employee of Lemu, but playing as Takeshi doesn't seem to have caught on. She does know a lot about Lemu though, but could be because she's an infiltrator. Why is she so handy? Why does she know how to weld and do mechanics? Where did she learn that? Because usually that wouldn't really be that like something you care about. People have hobbies, but the game suggests that that's important somehow. Um, is that it? Why was she messing with the control panel while in the mascot costume? You could also ask why she punched Takeshi, but that's kind of just who she is. She just punches people. Um, why does she think that Lieblich? Why does she think there's another floor underneath Rite stock? Why in the kids' route is she suspicious that the other characters are working for Lieblich and are putting on an act around her? What does she know about Lieblich? And then the big one, how is she so resilient? She didn't she is able to walk around wearing the immune costume and not overheat. She also did not need to go through the recompression treatment after being decompressed. It appears that her legs somehow healed super fast, and then she made a mistake pretending it hadn't by dragging the wrong leg. You may have caught on to that to some degree, and that's why she's kind of like acts like she has something to say but isn't quite. She keeps like deciding not to say it yet. Also, how did she get so strong and fast? It's another thing. So it would appear that Tsugumi would be an easy character archetype to write, right? You just need to make her say lines from a small library of possible lines, like "Don't touch me," and "I'm not your friend," and "I don't care about you," and "You are a moron," and "You are the pawn scum of the earth," and "That's a stupid question," and so on. Um, and it's not very. Again, I said this before, but doesn't seem extremely creative. It seems like it's kind of like an easy thing to kind of think up in your head and make a fantasy about, and pretty common as well. You know, the hero character who's too proud to admit that they're a hero because they're too proud to admit that they actually care about other people enough that they would help them. So their actions are like good and heroic, but their speech is like the opposite. I really do, despite its seeming lack of creativity, though, I really do like it. A character like you would seem much more difficult to write, but it's like you don't really care about the line she says nearly as much. Anyway, so last I left off on this thing, I was in this really stupid conversation, and I was gonna have to wade through it.
なんだか面白いですね。もっと教えてください。
This is interesting. Please teach me more. Please, plot, come and interrupt us so we don't have to listen to more of this. Her eyes show. This is like too fun. Now you try. Why?
なんか超面白い。
This is like so fun. We did this for several hours. Okay, good. They skipped it. Yay! Alright, the time has come to see the fruits of your labor. Go forth, my prized pupil. Coco and Peepo were jumping up and down in the rest area. Oh, Miss Sora. Woof woof.
ねえ、ソラさん、ソラさん、すぐみ見かけなかった？
Hey Sora, did you find Tsugumi?
え、つぐみ？見てないけど。
Huh? Tsugumi? I haven't seen her.
そんなことよりさ、ココ、誰かいい男紹介してくんない？
Anyways, Coco, don't you know any cute guys you could hook me up with?
この前のコンパがマジ最悪で。
The guys at this party last week were like such losers.
ソラさん？
Sora?
長男ばっかセットすんじゃねえよとか思ったし。
I was like, I'm sick of eldest sons, man. I want something fresh.
しかもそこらの飲み屋でさ、割り勘とかさせようとすんの。
And then they wanted to go Dutch.
いやでも盛り下がるっつうの。ねえ。
Can you believe it? It's like total junk. I guess it was entertaining after all. Although Coco talked over me. Coco burst into tears. Was that originally a dog sound effect? Pee-Pee let out a terrified roar.
何よ。
Whoa, what's the matter?
何がそんなに気に入らないわけ？
You don't like my new way of talking?
ちょっと、どうしたのよ。
Hey, what's going on? Did Takeshi break Sora, literally? You came running.
あ、なんだ言うじゃない。
Hey, it's you.
最近メール来ないんだけど。何？超忙しいわけ？
Haven't heard from you for like forever, girl. What are you, like busy like a bee or something?
へえ。
What?
どうしちゃったの、ソ
Happened to you, Sora?
ラ。何ビビった顔してんのよ。
What are you looking all scared for?
まったくかったるいわよね。仕事なんてさっさか終わらせてさ。
Really, how not cool. Hurry up and put an end to your work then.
クラブとか、どっか夜通し遊べるとことか、行きたくない？
You want to go clubbing or something? Don't you just want to stay out all night?
クラダリ、あんたの仕業か！
Takeshi, did you do this? So, due to the general outcry, Sora went back to tech talking like her original self. Several hours had passed since Sora's outburst. You, Coco, and the kid had finished their meal and moved to the rest area where they were relaxing and letting their food digest. Okay, then. I'd almost finished tidying up the kiosk. Hee hee hee. I pulled out the object I had secretly hidden behind the warmer. Actually, there had been one sausage left in the back of the refrigerator. There were no hot dog buns, so I stuffed the sausage into a bread roll. I slapped on ketchup and mustard and took a big bite. This is so good, and then got caught by you. Although it would be more entertaining if it was Tsugumi, but the game wouldn't do that, would it? My mouth filled with the juicy flavor as I bit down. Meat. Yum. Fried chicken sandwiches were good, but not every meal every single day. I hid in the back of the kiosk and devoured the sausage.
あ、クラナリさん、ここにいらしたんですか。
Takeshi, there you are. Oomph. Surprised by Sora's voice, I choked on a piece of sausage. Sora appeared in front of me.
倉成さん、しっかりしてください。
Takeshi, are you alright? Uh, cough, cough. Blinking and struggling, I finally managed to swallow the chunk of meat. I swallowed the rest of the sausage in a one bite to remove the evidence. I could struggle to control my breathing. Sora?
はい、何でしょう。
What is it? Not a word about what you just saw, okay?
ええ、構いません。承知しました。
Yes, alright, I understand.
でも、何してたんです？何か食べていたんですか？
Oh, what were you doing? Were you eating something? Oh, well, if you don't know, it doesn't matter. As usual, Sora feigned ignorance. It looked like she didn't remember my love psychology lecture. It was just as well.
ところで、さっき小町さんと少し話をしてきました。
By the way, I just had a talk with Tsugumi. Oh, really? What personality did you use? Surprised, I blinked. You were able to talk with Tsugumi?
はい。小町さんが救護室に戻ってらしたので、声をかけてみたんです。
Yes, she returned to the infirmary, so I went to go see her. But aren't the sensors broken in the infirmary, so that's hard to do?
そしたら、小町さんの方から私に話しかけていただいて。
Tsugumi was actually the one to speak first. Oh?
ええ。それで、少しやりすぎた。医療機器を壊してしまってごめんなさいと言ってました。
Yeah, she said she was sorry for going too far and smashing the medical equipment. Apologized? Tsugumi? Well, I mean, it was to Sora, not to you. They're different people.
はい。
Yes. I was surprised. No, I was really surprised.
それから、私に奇妙な質問をされました。
And then she asked me a really strange question, which usually when you do this, you're entrusting it to the person you're asking to keep it a secret. But Sora doesn't keep anything secret, apparently, except for stuff about Lieblich and why they built the Moo. A strange question? What'd she ask?
そうですね。
Well,
私の過去について何か知っているか
she said, What do you know about my past?
というようなことを小町さんは聞かれて、
I didn't know what to say. And
知らないと私は答えました。
I told her I didn't know anything.
知らなかったものですから。
Because I didn't know anything. Oh? It was a strange question. Where's Tsugumi now? I said this trying to restrain my sense of urgency.
私が答えると小町さんはうなずいてベッドに横になりました。
She nodded at my answer and went to bed. Bed? She went back to the infirmary and went to bed?
そういうことになりますね。
Well, yes. Are you sure? Is that where she is now?
ええ、多分そうです。
Yes, probably. Probably, huh? Can you check to make sure Tsugumi isn't wandering around instead of taking it easy? I nodded, but Sora looked troubled. What's wrong? All it takes is a quick scan. Yes, well, you see, I actually made all that up.
倉成さん、私、
Takeshi,
緊急の時以外はセンサーでのスキャンはなるべく使わないことにしたんです。
I don't like to scan with the sensors unless it's an emergency, which is something I'm just coming up with now. What? Maybe I'm trying to hide something.
ほら、倉成さんにも一人になりたい時ってあるでしょ？
There are times when even you want to be alone, right, Takeshi? Yeah, but this is a weird extenuating circumstance where you're trapped in this underground structure thing that's going to implode in 2 days.
他にも内緒話したい時とか、二人きりになりたい時とか。
And times when you want to talk about something secret or be alone with somebody.
私も皆さんのプライバシーは守りたいと思いまして。
I want to protect people's privacy. It seems like privacy is a borrowed word from English and Japanese.
スキャンすると全部わかってしまいますから。ね。
If I scan, then I know everything. Sora's smile was slightly uncomfortable. Sora went to check on the Meh, and I went to the second floor infirmary. Because I'm gonna mess stuff up even more. I hope she's resting properly. Hey, Tsugumi, can I come in? I spoke into the intercom and opened the door. The infirmary was quiet again. All the smashed equipment had been tidied up. How you tidy up something smashed? I guess you mean like cleaned out? Sure enough, Tsugumi was there. And weirdly, the IV's plugged in, and weirdly, the cast is on. Can you just slip those on and off? I didn't think so. I don't believe it. Perhaps sensing my presence, Tsugumi opened her eyes. Maybe they just only had one CG, and so they decided to just reuse it.
何よ、うるさいわね。
What, could you keep it down? Her voice was normal.
私がここにいない方が良かった？
Am I not supposed to be here or something? No, not at all. I was just surprised, that's all.
驚いた？
Surprised? Yeah, surprised. You came back.
ええ。まあ、ね。
Yeah, well.
あの区画からは戻ってくるしかないわ。どこにも行けないもの。
I had to come back from that sector, there was nowhere to go. Hey, that's not what oh, no, never mind. Anyway, I'm glad you're back.
よかった。
Glad? Yeah, glad. Relieved?
ふーん。
Oh, really? Tsugumi looked at me intently. As she spoke, she lay back down and slowly closed her eyes.
あんまり大声出さないでくれる？
Keep your voice down, okay?
少し頭が痛むの。音が頭に響くから。
My head hurts a little. Noise makes it worse. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Hey, you hungry? Do you want me to make you a sandwich?
ええ。頼むわ。
Yes, please. Okay, I'll go get you one. Wait right here, I'll be back soon, okay? So don't move. I tried not to make any noise as I left. As soon as I got out of the infirmary, I sprinted to the third floor. The kiosk had been cleaned up, but I turned the fryer back on and heated up the chicken. I hurried but worked carefully. I heated the bread and browned it slightly. I spread on the special sauce and chose the best piece of lettuce. I hurriedly wrapped the hot sandwich. I left the kiosk. I sprinted back to the infirmary. I had been away less than 10 minutes. Then Tsugumi takes the sandwich, she's like, thank you, and then just like throws it on the floor. She was probably sick of waiting. I punched the open button until the door opened. Sorry I took so long. I called out softly as I approached the quiet bed. I took more trouble with this than usual. It's a masterpiece. Why would you say something like that? Eat it before it gets cold. Huh? Maybe she was asleep. I approached the bed, but there was no answer. Hey, Tsugumi? Tsugumi, here's your food. Delicious sandwich. Get it while it's hot. I called softly, but there was no response. Why, you idiot? Tsugumi! I tried yelling. I said, here's your food. Are you going to eat it? Say something. Grab. I pulled back the blanket on the bed. Tsugumi wasn't there. The bed was still slightly warm. She's gone. I told her not to move. I let out a deep sigh. I had been trolled. Now, I held my head in my hands. I resisted the urge to throw the sandwich against the wall. Where on earth did that stupid girl run off to? Without thinking about it, I stamped my foot. Crunch. I felt something hard under my shoe. Huh? I lifted my foot and looked down. Whatever I had stepped on was pulverized under my feet. The small pieces smelled faintly. I bent down and spread them out on my hand. Looks like nuts. Glancing under the bed, I found a rolled up sheet stuffed underneath. I pulled it out. I found a bag which had probably contained the nuts, and an empty box. They looked like souvenirs bought at some shop. Is this what she was crinkling? Where were these here when we searched the place? Had Tsugumi smuggled them in? Was she eating them in secret? No, that explanation didn't feel quite right. Ah, I thought the nuts were crushed because I had stepped on them. But there was also a large amount of powder under the bed. Someone had deliberately crushed the nuts. I pulled the box out from under the bed and glanced inside. A section of the lid had been torn off, and the box was filled with cotton, with a soft hollow in the center. It looked like the nest of some small animal. Oh, this is the mouse? I considered the evidence. The cotton in the box and the scattered pieces of nut. Did Tsugumi have some kind of pet? It seemed a reasonable conclusion. In that case, maybe she's gone looking for her pet. But where exactly? I couldn't ask Sora. I called Sora from the infirmary terminal, but she didn't appear. I looked at the map of Lamu on the monitor, but could detect no signs of life. Where in the vicinity would vicinity of Lemiz would there be a large terminal functioning? Of course, the security office. If I went there, I would probably learn something. I left the infirmary and turned left down a corridor. When I arrived at the security office, I opened the door and flew inside. There was somebody already there. Tsugumi was sitting in a chair in front of the console. She was engrossed in something and didn't notice me come in. She was doing something at the console. On the screen was a zoomed-in section of a map. A strange point of light was moving across the enlarged section of the map. The light indicated a sign of life. She hit the key. One portion of the screen changed, and the remote camera zoomed in on whatever was reacting. A living creature was visible on the monitor. Phew. Tsugumi breathed a sigh of relief. A rat. At the sound of my whisper, Tsugumi swung around. She blinked. It's a rat, isn't it? A gray rat was running along a pipe. The map showed the isolated sector of the third floor. Is it that rat you're looking for?
まさか。
Oh, of course not. Tsugumi was obviously flustered. I looked under your bed and saw the box. There were nuts everywhere. She looked away. You don't have to answer if you don't want to. Anyway, I wonder how that dirty rodent get here.
ドブネズミ？
Dirty rodent? Tsugumi's voice was suddenly hysterical. I was a little taken aback. It's not a rat?
あれはジャンガリアンハムスタ
It's a Jungarian hamster,
ーだと思う。
I think. Really? Oh, so that's what it's called. A Zungarian? Huh? You're pretty knowledgeable, Tsugumi.
そのぐらい誰だって知ってるわ。
Everybody knows what they're called. Her chest puffed out slightly. So you were looking for that rat?
違う。
No.
ネズミじゃないって言ったでしょ。
I told you, it's not a rat. Sorry, not rat, but hamster. So you're looking for the hamster? Tsugumi seemed to nod her head reluctantly. Her movement was so small, I wasn't even sure if she had made it. Tsugumi looked back at the
多
monitor.
分どこかのパイプを通って向こうまで行ったんだと思う。
He probably traveled through some pipe. Pipe?
電気ケーブルが収容されてるパイプとか細い通気口とか。
The pipes with the electronic cables or the power sockets. Oh, I see. Her finger traced the map. Nobody could walk to where the hamster was. The top right of the screen showed an area underwater. It seemed there was one room still empty. I guess this is the sector 4, as you can't get to, which the kid filled with water. It was even further away than the isolated area on the 3rd floor. The isolated area on the 3rd floor, as they're calling it. It wasn't even clear on this map, but there was one emergency corridor in the sector. I committed Lemoo's map to memory. Geez, I guess we'll just have to... I grabbed a plastic bag from the trash can and headed for the exit.
ちょっとどこ行くつもり？
Where do you think you're going? Where do you think I'm going? I'm going to go get him.
誰を？
Who? That funny-looking hamster.
無理よ。
There's no way you'll make it.
あっちのエリアとこことは水没したエリアで隔てられてるのよ。
There's a section underwater between here and there,
パイプは人間が通れる太さじゃないし。
and no human could fit through the pipe. I ignored her and left the security office. I began to walk towards the place I had in mind. What'd you do with the chicken sandwich, though?
待ちなさいよ。
Wait. Tsugumi caught up with me and grabbed my arm. This is where you tell her, hey, you don't touch me either. What now? If you don't get going, Mr. Hamster is going to move to another place. Wouldn't that be a good thing?
どうやってあそこまで行くつもりなの？
How do you plan to get in there? How else? Swim.
え？
Huh? Tsugumi's hand relaxed. Still in her grip, I kept moving. Tsugumi came with me.
ちょっと
Wait.
正気なの？あなた。
Oh, when she dropped the nuts in the pipe room, she was not that wasn't like hardware nuts. That were like literal like food nuts. Wow, that was okay. I wonder if they're different word. Like in Japanese, you don't use the same word for either of them, so you wouldn't have gotten that funny confusion that happens when you read it in English. Are you out of your mind? I'm going through with this.
だからあなたはうつけ者なのよ。
That's the reason why I think you are stupid.
防水扉を開いたら6気圧の海水が一気に流入して。
If you open those floodgates, you'll be overwhelmed by the seawater. The pressure is 6 atmospheres. You don't have to worry about that. The hamster is in an area directly connected to the flooded emergency corridor. The water in that area is 1 atmosphere of pressure, so the flooded corridor should be about the same. Besides, the floodgates on either side of the corridor are firmly shut. That corridor is completely isolated from the outside seawater. The entrance to the other side is open. If I use the flooded corridor beneath the room, I can get into the next area. Why don't you go back and check the map? Why couldn't we do this in the kids' ending? Well, we wouldn't have been able. Well, there wouldn't have been a point because there would be no hamster.
でも
But
向こうのエリアまでどのくらいあると思ってるの？
how far do you think it is to get to the area? 153 feet. Well, didn't Sora say it was 100 yards? That's like twice as far as what's depicted here. There's some inconsistency. Let's see here. I have not swam 153 feet underwater in my life. Could I do it now if I tried? There's a slight possibility. The most I've done is 75 feet, but I was a little kid at the time. I made sure to check it before.
そう、51メートルもあるのよ。
Yeah, but 153 feet is a long way. It'll be alright. I swam to one end and back of a 25-meter pool underwater once. Okay, so that's over 150 feet. because it's meters, and 1 meter is greater than 3 feet. In fact, I could probably calculate how much greater. So 1 centimeter is 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters. No, it's too hard. I won't do it on the fly. You use that to back up how many yards are in a meter, and a meter is slightly more than 3 yards. If you came back, like I've gone 25, but it was an American pool, so it's a yard. When I was like a little kid, I swam 25 yards underwater, but just there. I didn't turn around and come back underwater. I kicked off the far wall coming back, but still. Oh, so he... Oh, okay, just the momentum. I waved my hands to dismiss it. Tsugumi's expression hardened.
そんな。
You... How do you get the hamster and bring the hamster back, though? Like...
やっぱりあなた、正気じゃないわ。
You are crazy. You could bag up the hamster, but then the hamster might suffocate if you take too long.
死ぬつもり？
Are you trying to kill yourself? Well, why would you judge people for that? Tsugumi breathed in sharply. I'll be alright. It's alright, I won't die. I'll promise I'll come back.
どうしてそこまでして？
Why are you doing this?
ハムスター一匹に。どうして？
Are you doing this for one little hamster? What else can I do? We're all in this together. Maybe you're not one of us, but any pet you have is one of us. Japan, people with the same goal are called friends.
バカみたい。
You're an idiot. Doesn't bother me. I'm okay with being an idiot. I'd rather be a cheerful idiot than some warped genius. We took EI down to the 3rd floor. From there, we walked along the corridor to the isolated sector. Anyway, you may as well eat this. The fried chicken sandwich was still in my hand. I shoved it at Tsugumi. Here, before it gets cold. Tsugumi's face showed no reaction as he silently accepted the sandwich. Tsugumi slowly unwrapped the sandwich and cautiously sniffed it. I wonder if you did that thing you did in the other route.
Huh.
Munch. Tsugumi suddenly took a huge bite. Mmm. And choked. She ate it fast. The sandwich disappeared before my eyes. Phew. How was it? Good, huh? Well, Tsugumi can't taste, so we don't know. Tsugumi didn't reply, but balled up the sandwich wrapper and threw it back at me. But seeing how happily she ate it, I didn't need any words to know how she felt. I was pleased. We arrived at the pipe room. We searched the floor and opened the hatch at the manhole that led to the emergency corridor. We peered inside. A tube of about 2 feet in diameter stretched down below us. A simple ladder was fixed on one side of the tube. About 6 feet down, we could see the submerged emergency light shining. We could find no signs as we peered through the hatch that the water was backflowing. That meant that the water pressure inside the corridor was balanced against the pressure around us. I wonder if there's something I can use to guide me back. Fortunately, there was a rope with a hook on it, which looked as if it were a lifeline for the maintenance crew. I decided to hold on to it when I went in. Checking that the rope was long enough, I tied it firmly to the pipe nearby. If I tied it to the hook where I came out, then it should be easy to return. All right, then. I did some light stretching exercises to warm up.
待って。
Wait,
やっぱり、私が行くわ。
I should go instead. Huh? Tsugumi stared me square in the face.
勘違いしないで。
Don't get me wrong.
私は、あなたができないと分かっていることを、わざわざあなたにしてもらおうとは思ってない。
I didn't purposely try to get you to do something I knew you couldn't do.
私はあなたと違うの。バカじゃないの。
I'm not like you. I'm not stupid.
ここの出来が違うのよ。
You and I are different up here. Tsugumi tapped her head.
だから、私が行くわ。
I'm going. What's your problem? I can't believe you're being like that at a time like this. That's not a nice thing to say. I'll be fine. You go back to the security office. When I get through the other side, you can tell me where the hamster is. I won't be able to locate him without Lemire, will we?
そうね。
Yeah. Yeah, is it? Why don't you use that superior intellect of yours to think of something? Unless someone who can operate Lemire stays behind, it won't work. Ha ha ha. Tsugumi
大
laughed.
丈夫よ。
All right.
たけしを見習って、気合と根性で何とかしてみるから。
I've learned from you. I'll show you what I can do with a little courage and guts. Now, wait a... Oof. She punched me. Tsugumi punched me.
じゃあね。
See you later. Tsugumi took the rope hook and went down the ladder. Before long, she disappeared from view. The rope stretched into the water. Well, and then this is where Takeshi, swims after her. Holding my stomach, I sunk to my knees. She got me with a solid body blow, and I couldn't stand up. She really hit hard. I can't believe her. I seem to remember getting punched like that by someone wearing a mascot costume, because I haven't figured out that she was in the costume yet. Was that Tsugumi? Ugh. I was suddenly dizzy. My stomach was in agony. You got liver punched? Now, where I'd been punched. Not where I'd been punched. I was suffering from a totally different pain. I reached for the pipe and tried to stand up, but my hand grasped at thin air. My vision clouded. I coughed and spat. Ah. What erupted from my mouth was the semi-liquid remains of my hot dog. What the? I felt a chill as I lost consciousness. When I regained consciousness, I was lying half in a pool of water. Where am I? Oh, in the pipe room. What happened to Tsugumi? In front of me, I could see the rope disappearing into the hatch. That's right, she's looking for the hamster. I have to get to the security office. Tsugumi will need navigation.
遅い。
You're too late. Sorry, I'll be right there. Huh, what?
もうとっくに行ってきたわよ。
I've already been there and back. Which, with startled look on her face, Tsugumi peered out of the hatch. Why would she be startled? She pulled up the rope as she stood up and closed the hatch. I slowly got off the floor. How'd it go, Tsugumi?
見つけはしたの。部屋の隅に追い詰めて。でも、失敗。
I found him. He was in the corner of the room, but I couldn't catch him.
捕まえ損ねたわ。こっちに向かって逃げたみたいね。
I think he ran this way. Oh. I hoped we could catch him. Just let me check then. What does this hamster look like?
別に、普通のジャンガリアンよ。
It's just a normal Jungarian.
手のひらに乗るくらいの大きさで、毛が灰色で、背中に黒い線があって。
Gray color, black stripe on his back, small enough to sit in the palm of your hand. Like that? I pointed to a small rodent running along a nearby pipe.
え
Huh?
たけし、
Takeshi,
捕まえて。
grab him. What? Seeing the rodent, Tsugumi's eyes got huge. I had no idea what to say. Yes, because you're not supposed to say something. The small furry animal noticed Tsugumi and me and froze, his eyes fixed on us. Well then. I reached out my hand. Gotcha. What, just like that? I didn't think I'd catch him so quickly. The stunned hamster lay quietly in my hand. Wow, nice catch.
ああダメじゃないの。そんな風に乱暴に掴んだら。
Oh, be careful, don't squeeze him so hard. What? Tsugumi snatched the rat from my hand. She stroked it gently as if she were consoling it.
痛かった？ごめんね。
Did it hurt? I'm sorry. Oh, what? Is that really a rat? I mean, what are you doing with the thing in the first place? I was taken aback.
違う。
No,
違うってさっきから言ってるでしょ。
I keep telling you.
ネズミじゃなくて、チャミ。ジ
It's not a rat, it's a chami.
ャンガリアンハムスター。
He's a Jungarian hamster. Tsugumi spat the words out. She pouted as she glared at me. Okay, he's not a rat, he's Chami. Chami? That hamster's name is Chami?
言ってない。
I didn't say that.
そんなこと私。
I never said that. Embarrassed, she bowed her head. Anyway, that is what you were looking for. She nodded silently. Okay, well, great. That was lucky, wasn't it? In another timeline, she's going to use hot dogs in the fridge to feed him. Anyway, we've caught him.
ええ。あ、その、
Yeah,
たけし。一応、ありがとう。
Takeshi, I thank you, I guess, even though he didn't do anything besides just get punched. They're gonna do some sentimental thing, like he encouraged her to, well, whatever. Her voice was quiet and expressionless. Ouch. She knocked me down and bolted from the room. She was soaking wet and still clutching Chami. What is with that chick? I had wanted to tell her how glad I was that she was okay. It seemed I had missed my chance. Stunned, I listened to her footsteps grow fainter. So that's what happened.
そうだったんですか。
Oh, I see. Several hours had elapsed since the hunt for Chami. I had asked to Sora to come with me to the souvenir kiosk on the second floor.
でもよかったですね。小町さんのお友達が無事に見つかって。
Isn't it great that Tsugumi found her friend? And then you, totally blabbed about stuff she didn't want anybody to know about to Sora? Yeah. Her friend, huh? Well, as far as Tsugumi was concerned, it was her friend.
ところで倉成さん、
Anyway, Takeshi.
この売店で食料を探すという話だったと思いますが。
Weren't you going to search this kiosk for food? Was that right? It was quiet all around. There was no one around. You, the kid, and Coco were in the conference room preparing for bed. Tsugumi was probably asleep in the infirmary. We looked pretty thoroughly last time and didn't find anything.
ですけど、ここにナッツやクッキーが置いてあるって、私一目見てすぐにわかりましたよ。ほら。
But there are nuts and cookies here. I saw them right away. Look. Sora pointed to the packets in the kiosk. Oh, really? There was a mountain of packets just like the one I had found under the bed in the infirmary. I guess we were all half asleep when we looked last time. Well, I don't need to worry about food for the time being.
竜田サンドもまだしばらくは食べられるんですよね。
We can keep eating the fried chicken sandwiches, can't we? Yes, there are plenty. I don't know what the expiration date on them is, but there should be enough for 2 or 3 more days.
そうですか。
Oh. Yeah. We kept talking for a while. It was an ordinary conversation with no fixed theme and nothing to do with the topic of escape. I wonder what the weather is like up there.
今の私には地上の状態を知る手立てはありませんけど、
I have no way of knowing what the situation's like up on the surface.
海中の様子からすると比較的穏やかな感じがしますね。これから先も大荒れになることはないと思います。
But judging from what it's like underwater, it's quite calm. It's unlikely to get worse anytime soon. That's reassuring.
はい。
Yes. Half the meaning was probably lost. I thought that perhaps this conversation would be an opportunity. I searched for the right words. Listen, Sora. I want to talk about something serious.
え、倉成さんもですか？
You do too, Takeshi?
実は私もなんです。
Actually, so do I. Really? Okay, after you, ladies first.
いえ、倉成さんからおっしゃってください。
No, Takeshi, you go first. To tell you the truth, I'm a little embarrassed.
私だって恥ずかしいです。
So am I. Let's both say it at the same time. And let's both speak at the same time.
先生
Alright. Okay, together then. 3, 2, 1, go. It's about the lecture today.
昼間の講義のことなんですけど。
It's about the lecture today. I had spoken a moment sooner. Well, okay.
恋愛心理学。
Love psychology. Sora's cheeks are bright red. Yes, that. I was probably a little red too. Teehee. We were reflecting on the glass. We were reflected on the glass of the kiosk. Sora twinkled as she spoke. Let's see, would that work? Yes, it would.
私ね、あの講義についてですけど。
Her name is, would you be able to see Sora's reflection? And the answer is yes, I believe you would be able to see Sora's reflection. I wanted to speak about the lecture.
ココちゃんはなんだか怖がってましたし、田中さんは少し怒っていらしたんですけど。
Coco was afraid of me, and you seemed mad about something.
でも、倉成さんが間違ったことを言ったわけではないんじゃないかなって、そう思ってたんです。
But what you said wasn't wrong, at least I don't think so. Neither do I. But we're gonna go into this thing about how you should be yourself. I think my examples have been a little extreme, but I think my basic message is right.
ですよね。
Yeah? Yeah.
ええ、倉成先生、
Sensei?
続きをしてほしいです。
I would like you to finish the lecture. I would not.
もっといろいろ教えてください。
Teach me everything.
私の知らないことを教えてください。
Teach me what I don't know. Alright then, Miss Onagasaki. The lecture resumed. After our study, she was the only one participating in my lecture. No one else was listening. It was lecture for one-on-one. Alright then, Sora, we're going to get back to the basics. I played it up a little.
先生、質問です。
Sensei, I have a question. What is it?
先生、お昼の時となんだかキャラが違うみたいですが。
You weren't acting like this earlier today. Ahem. I pretended to clear my throat. The professor is practicing speaking like a professor. Let's not worry about how to talk. The way you're talking is fine. There are gentlemen who prefer gentle voices. I went into the kiosk alone. Inside the kiosk, which had been used since the second floor, was strewn with colorful stationery and merchandise.
倉成先生、私はどうしたらいいんでしょうか。
Sensei, what should I do? Just stand there.
はい。
All right. Sora was waiting just outside the kiosk. I jumped over the counter. I brushed aside the stuff that was lying around and went over to the window. All right then, Sora.
はい。何でしょうか、先生。
Yes, what is it, Sensei? Come a little closer. From inside the kiosk, I beckoned to Sora. Sora approached the glass. She stopped about a yard away.
倉成さん、これ以上近づくと RSD 映像の表示限界が。
Takeshi, if I go any closer, the RSD image will. Don't be so unromantic, you'll spoil the mood.
だって私、平べったく映ってしまうかもしれませんよ。
It'll probably start to look flat. Embarrassed, she bowed her head. It's alright, it doesn't matter. Repeat after me, it's alright.
大丈夫、大丈夫。
It's alright. Blushing furiously, Sora timidly approached the window. Slowly, one step at a time. That's it. Before long, Sora and I faced each other through the thin sheet of glass.
来ました。
Here I am.
先生、私の格好、 変じゃありませんか？
Do I look strange, Sensei? Don't worry. I told you it was alright, didn't I? Her image was warping a little, but it was nothing serious. Alright then, practice.
はい。緊張しますね。
I'm a little nervous. Well, don't let me make you nervous. Relax, relax, okay? Repeat.
リラックス、リラックス。
Relax, relax. In my hand, I held a marker pen that I had picked up off the floor. It was red. It was a red water-based pen. Alright, I thought you were a traditional Japanese girl.
そうなんですか？
Really? Pure and sincere, lovely. But I felt that as a 24-year-old, you were lacking a little something.
え？
What? Color, the look of a grown woman. Sora was standing on the other side of the spotless glass. I took the cap off the pen and traced the line of Sora's lips. This is even stupider than before. The fastest way to give you color is with makeup. Whoever invented this, why? Like, whoever invented makeup, what were you thinking? Now as someone, face paint is like old as dirt, but why? With conservative makeup like yours, you won't even attract doctors or lawyers. Takeshi. When you do makeup, you do as little as it takes. Because yes, you want to use enough makeup that makes you look better, but you want to not use so much makeup that it's easy to tell it's makeup. You want to be really subtle about it. It is true that guys will turn heads and stare at you if you're wearing really, really heavy makeup, but not because it looks good, but because they go, whoa, that's a lot of makeup. Your makeup has to be more feminine.
先生、
Professor?
おっしゃっている意味がよくわからないのですが。
I don't understand what you mean. A picture is worth 1,000 words. I carefully drew her lipstick.
なんだかくすぐったいですね。
That tickles. Stand still. This is difficult.
私動いてませんよ。
I'm not moving. Maybe my hand wasn't used to the angle. Anyway, it was shaking a little. I drew her eyeline, give her mascara, and colored in her eyebrows. Alright, you're done. Finished. What a work of art. If I would give it a title, I'd call it Butterfly of the Night.
先生、
Sensei, that looks absolutely terrible.
これがギャルっぽいメイクなのでしょうか？
Is this feminine makeup? Well, not quite.
え？
Huh? It's actually over the top. Really over the top. It was a complete failure. It looked like a child scribbling.
でも私、こんなの見たことありません。なんか斬新です。
I've never looked like this. This is a change. I've never seen anything, you like
ひょっ
this?
とすると素敵かもしれません。
I think I like it. I wouldn't be so sure about that. You really think so?
先生、違うんですか？
What? You don't like it?
やっぱり
I didn't think you would. What do you mean? Miss Iconic Gisaki? Arg. It's all wrong. I tried to rub the lipstick off with my hand, but it wouldn't come off. The more I tried to wipe it off, the more the lipstick spread on her face.
先生、
Sensei?
これこそがギャルっぽいメイクなのでしょうか？
Is this feminine makeup? All around Sora's mouth was stained red. Miss Akane Gasaki? Not exactly. Without meaning to, I laughed.
先生？
Sensei? I'm sorry. But it's certainly a change, haha. I was apologizing, but I couldn't stop laughing.
もう、倉成先生。
Oh, Professor.
人の顔で遊ばないでください。
Stop playing with my face. Then Sora started to laugh as well. We both collapsed laughing. The sound of our laughter filled the silence in the nighttime kiosk. It had been ages since I had laughed like that. And after we had laughed for a while, Sora moved over to the next window.
先生、もっと真面目に、ちゃんとやってください。
Sensei, please do it properly this time. Sora's face became serious. Alright, okay then. Alright, this time I promise you perfect feminine beauty. I pick up the pen again and face the glass. I faced it,
どう
but
したんですか？
what's wrong? Nothing. I didn't draw anything with the pen. I stared deep into Sora's eyes through the glass.
倉成先生？
Takeshi? Her glossy lips were forming my name.
あのー、
Let's not do this.
え？
Huh? You don't need makeup. You don't need makeup, Sora. You're already beautiful.
先生、
Sensei?
からかわないでください。
Don't tease me. I'm not teasing you, I mean
ダ
it.
メですよ、先生。そんなこと言ったら、
Don't say that, Professor. I just let it translate that time. I could see Sora blushing.
先生に言われたら、生徒は本気にします。
If you say that, Sensei, I'll start to take you seriously. She bowed her head, her eyes searching around.
私は、
No more playing teacher.
先生？
Sensei?
いえ、倉成さん。
Takeshi? Sora slowly raised her head and looked me in the eyes. Sora, your hands. Put your hands here. I put my hands against the glass. Sora placed her hands where mine were. Right against left, left against right. Separated only by a pane of glass, our hands were touching. It felt strange. What should be a barrier between us was actually the only thing joining us. Without something between us, we couldn't touch. But on either side of this glass, we were able to confirm the existence of the other. It felt as if my hands were touching Sora's body. Sora's face was there in front of me, mere inches from me. We were so close I could hear her breathing. I thought that I could probably even take her in my arms.
ねえ、倉成さん、
Takeshi,
質問してもいいですか？
may I ask you something? Go ahead.
なんだか暖かい。
I feel warm.
とっても暖かいんですよ。
I feel really warm.
指先から心の中も。
From my fingers and in my heart.
これってなぜなんでしょう？
What's happening?
どうしてなんでしょうね？
Why do you think? Well, something is acting up that you's father programmed into you. I couldn't answer. Sora's eyes glistened with tears as she stared at me. The glass on the window was shaking. Sora's warmth spread to my hand. But it was just an illusion. If I closed my eyes, Sora disappeared. But in my hand I could feel the warmth like sunshine, even if the warmth was just an illusion. Sora's existed there and then. Of that I was certain. Darkness spread out before my eyes. Without limit it spread, nothingness. The void was endless, and I was in the middle of it. I could find nothing by which to judge distance. I searched for light, but couldn't even see the movement of my body. There was nothing below my feet. Nothing held me up. And so I fell. I fell. Deeper and deeper I sank into the void. Further and further. No, that wasn't it. It seemed to me rather that the darkness was coming toward me. It approached me at terrifying speed. But there was no sound. Yet I was creeping Yet it was creeping closer and closer. And finally, it penetrated me. There was no way for me to shake it off. It seeped completely into me. It was strange, but there was no feel to it. The blackness invaded and settled inside me. It overtook me, never to part again. Ah, I am becoming the darkness. The darkness is becoming me. My body becoming the darkness itself. The void was endless, it had no ceiling. Nothing existed to cover it. It was an abyss. Everything was buried in the pitch black, and the dark of the night was crushing me. That is how everyone dies. I was dying. I was dead. Death. When I awoke, my shirt was soaked with sweat. It was an awful way to start the day. I pulled out my PDA to check the time. Does that mean I'm going to end up at a bad ending? It read 3:18 a.m., but all drowsiness had left me. Attempting to sleep again would have been a waste of time. I thought I'd only have another nightmare. Nearby, I could hear soft breathing. Coco and Pee-Pee were nestled together, comfortably asleep. Trying not to wake them, I opened the conference room door and sneaked out. The 5th. Outside, the hallway seemed endless. For a moment, I had the illusions it went on forever. Stop being stupid. Without hesitation, I stepped into the cold water filling the hallway. I realized how oddly accustomed I'd grown to this spectacle, this strange situation, this daily routine. Being continually enclosed by walls that in a matter of time were doomed to come crashing down. Where will I be when it happens? I decided not to think too deeply about it. I had already decided not to think about things like that. Climbing the emergency stairway, I headed towards Vitae Stock. Reaching the infirmary, I pushed the button to open the door. She's not here. The bed was empty. The spilled nuts were gone. I wondered if Tsugumi had cleaned them up, or was it someone else? In the meantime, no one was in the room. Reaching out to the limit terminal, I touched the screen. No reaction. The monitor lights were out. I walked down toward the security office. I thought that maybe the terminal there would be online. Opening the door, I hesitated at the smell. As always, the room smelled like smoke. I tried the terminal. The screen read periodic maintenance in progress. The message continued. The full system periodic maintenance program in operation. Until completion, portions of the move functions are inaccessible. Estimated completion time 6 a.m. While under maintenance, automatic control systems throughout the compound will be partially offline. However, facilities and attractions will operate normally. Note, since all sensors and recording systems operations will be checked during maintenance, function may be erratic. Therefore, it will not be possible to access data through the terminals. Warning, this maintenance program should not be aborted unless in cases of emergency. If aborted, there is the danger of making the limit system unstable. Therefore, please refrain from accessing limit until after maintenance completion. Thank you for your cooperation. Additional note, until the maintenance completes, I will be unavailable. Everybody should be asleep at this time anyway, right? I informed everyone about this operation at dinner time, but in case any of you forgot what I said, I'm leaving this message. That is all. Good night, Sora. Well, how about that? Geez, Sora, I guess you forgot to tell me about this. Or then again, maybe I just wasn't listening. I was probably busy eyeing that extra piece of sausage in the refrigerator, trying not to be seen by the others as I hid the sausage. And later, cooked it up. I have been gloating over it until being caught, and then, certainly not expecting to be throwing it up only half an hour later. Was I stupid or what? I was lucky it wasn't worse. Oddly enough, I hadn't felt hungry since. Anyway, having no particular place to go, I found myself in front of an elevator. Dear. File menu. Save. Put Tagumi's face on this one. Always push the button. With no clear reason in mind, I pushed the elevator call button. Click, click. All it did was make a noise. The elevator showed no signs of budging. But of course, all the elevators in this section of the compound were shut down.
こんばんは。
Hi. Hearing a voice from behind me, I turned my head. And there was Tsugumi standing quietly.
ねえ、何してたの？
Hey, what were you up to?
そんなところにいても、エレベーターは来るわけないわよ。
There's no point waiting around. That elevator is not coming. I didn't have an answer to give.
どうしたの、たけし？
Keshi, what's the matter? You're acting out of character.
聞こえてないの？
Are you deaf? Heh. I couldn't help but laugh.
ちょっと、どうしちゃったの？
Come on, what's going on?
なんで笑ってるのよ。
That's so funny. Tsugumi seems slightly disturbed. It's nothing, no special reason. It's just that, well, I thought your question was pointless. At first, Tsugumi started to frown. Then she laughed back at me.
少しはあなたもわかるようになったのね。
You started to catch on, haven't you? I suppose. I was just out for a little walk. What have you been doing? Oh, that's okay. You don't have to answer.
だったら聞かないでよ。
In that case, don't ask. Turning her eyes away, Tsugumi frowned slightly. Looking at the floor, she seemed lost in thought. This is what happens when she runs out of things to do. After a moment, she lifted her eyes and spoke.
ねえ、たけし、クバレって知ってる？
Say, Takeshi, do you know what quale is? The, jellyfish gondola, correct? Quale?
そう、クバレ。
That's right. Quale. It's German, though, so I may not be pronouncing it correctly. I know, like, the German words, like, at the beginning, like, the floor names, I was pronouncing incorrectly. I think I called the second floor Zvitstock. Anyway. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's... I don't know. Did I accidentally hit the wrong one? Whatever. Actually, I think I knew, but then I forgot.
うーん。
Right.
じゃあ、教えてあげるわ。
Okay, I'll tell
ク
you.
バレは、
Quale is
クラゲのゴンドラのアトラクション。
jellyfish gondola ride. Oh, that's just the answer? Okay, I should have said I do know.
このエレベータールームのすぐ裏手にあるの。
And it's located just behind this elevator room. Is that so? Then we both fell silent. Tsugumi started to giggle and gave me a hard look. We both knew what we were going to do next. With Tsugumi in the lead, we headed for the Quale entrance. Say, how do you make this thing work?
さあね。
Go figure. Go figure? Come on, tell me.
スイッチは入ってるから乗れば勝手に動き出すわ。
It's already turned on, dummy. Just get in and it'll go. That's it?
さっき試してみたから確かよ。
Look, I tried it out already, so I'm pretty sure. Well, if you say so. I mean, I would be really excited to get in the gondola with Tsugumi, but then also a little bit nervous. Or a lot nervous. Wait a second, you already tried it?
ええ、試したの。
Hell yeah, I tested it. Tsugumi's face looked troubled as if she'd been caught at something. You saying you rode it
一
alone?
人じゃない。
Well, not exactly alone. Literally, me and the mouse in my pocket. You literally did the expression. Except it's not literally a mouse, but and I'm stretching this a bit. So, who was with you?
誰かと、じゃない。
It's not who was with me.
その、つまり、チャ
You
ミと一
see,
緒に。
well... Her line was long. You see, well, it was with Chami. You mean your hamster?
そうよ。
Well, yeah. In other words, one adult and one critter.
うん。
Yeah. You rode Quale with Chami. Why you keep stretching this out like...
そうよ。何度も言わせないで。
Yes, don't make me repeat myself. Well, then how was it? Fun?
チャミはすぐ寝ちゃったわ。退屈だったみたい。
Shami fell asleep. I guess he was bored.
でも、私は、
But as for me,
そんなことどうでもいいでしょ。
who cares?
意味がない質問よ。
It's a meaningless question. Tsugumi hadn't said much, which was a lot more than usual. In other words, you were lonely, huh? Why, Takeshi? Why do you want this verbal acknowledgement of you? It's like, that's not what you really should want. If I was there, I could have cheered you up. Yeah!
何が安心なのよ。
What do you mean, cheer me up? Takeshi, you are incapable of doing that. Well, you know, you've been through a lot. I thought maybe the two of us together would. Yeah, right. That's why do you think I've mentioned this to you? And then suddenly Tsugumi's expression lost its tension. Hehe. I'm about to prank you. All of a sudden she let out a laugh. Hey, what's going on with you? Did I say something stupid?
ううん、別に。
Nah, not really.
全然意味なんてないの。
It's nothing important.
笑ってみたかっただけ。
It's just that I needed to laugh. And then suddenly her expression hardened again. But then again I thought, that a slight smile remained on her face? Yes, the sprites are the sprites.
行きましょう。
Let's go. Okay, if you say so. You're not supposed to say okay if you say so. You're supposed to just do it without saying anything. Together we got inside the ride. Immediately after the hatch closed, the gondola began to move forward smoothly. It was just as Tsugumi had said. The jellyfish-shaped gondola picked up speed and headed toward the outskirts of Vitae stock. The corrugated tube carrying the gondola wrapped its way along the perimeter of the floor. Oh, that's what. Yeah, I saw that in the like the holograph of Lemu that you see at the beginning of each day, and I was just thought it was like I didn't think it was that was the jellyfish gondola. I just thought it was like part of the structures, part of the artwork. Okay. Floating comfortably inside the tube, the gondola skirted its way along.
あなたに質問したいことがあったの。
I'm gonna take a little break and then come back. That's actually a pretty like when you think of Le Mire, you think, oh, it's just like amusement park rides that are confined to these bulkheads. You think that'd be pretty boring. There's only put a pretty tight limit on what they could do with the rides. But yeah, this would be something that would actually make it an attraction. If it would work. Anyway. People would actually go to do this. There's been something I've been meaning to ask you. What is it?
聞いておきたかった。確認しておきたかった。
Something I wanted to ask. Something I wanted to confirm. That you actually didn't have a sex change 3 years ago. No. It was strange that Tsugumi would have something she wanted to say just to me. Her behavior seemed extremely odd.
おかしいね。
It's strange,
お
but
かしいけど、そうなのよ。
it's strange, but it seems that
わからなくなってしまいそうなの。
like I'm beginning to lose it. Well, that's not a question for Takeshi.
おかしくなってしまいそうなの。
Like I'm going crazy. Huh?
ねえ。あなたはどこにいるの？
So tell me, where are you? Out of nowhere, she asked me again. What do you mean, where? I'm right here.
ここって、どこ？
Yeah, but where is here? You know, here is here, right? I beat the palm of my hand against my chest.
爪、 切ったことある？
Have you ever cut your fingernails? What's up with you all of a sudden? Tsugumi leaned over urgently right in front of my face. In her eyes, I could see something like a distant light. I could just glimpse the tip of her tongue, wet and smooth.
いいから、
Just answer, okay?
爪、切ったことある？
Have you ever cut your fingernails? Of course I
じ
have.
ゃあ、その切り取られた爪に、あなたはいる？
Well then, is the nail that's been cut away still you? What do you mean?
爪に、あなたはいるの？
The brain kind of saves you from this philosophical quandary because generally, the brain cells don't like to divide. They can, the neurons can, but they tend to not do so very readily. So the cells that make up the part of you that is quote unquote the seat of your soul, they don't replace themselves. So what makes you you really can't be like a no none of the original parts situation. Right? I mean, are you there in the nail? No, I guess once it's gone from my body, it's not me anymore.
髪は？
How about hair? The same goes for hair.
だったら、ここにくっついている髪の毛はたけしだけど、こうやって抜いた途端、
In that case, this hair here is you, right? But if I pull it out... Ouch. I reflexively put my hand on my head. Tsugumi had yanked out a couple strands.
これは、たけしじゃないんだ。
This isn't you? Tsugumi held the hair up, waving it around. That's tough. It isn't me, but I guess you could call it X-me.
じゃあ、腕を引きちぎったら？
Okay then, what if I ripped your arm off? You gotta be kidding. Tsugumi grabbed my arm. And before I could react, I was drawn into her body. Although she wasn't abnormally strong, I thought she was. I found it impossible to resist her. It's a natural flowing movement. Inside the white gondola. Tsugumi's body covered mine. I could feel her breath. I could feel her pulse. I could feel the warmth of her body. I could smell her scent. The smell of musk. It made me slightly dizzy. Well, yeah, everybody's going to be really stinky because there's no... Well, maybe they could, like, borrow other people's DO that they left over in the changing room. But it's a bunch of seawater, so you smell like you're gonna smell like seawater or BO, one or the other. Both are stinky.
ねえ、腕を引きちぎったら？
Oh? If I ripped your arm off? Gazing intensely at me, Tsugumi continued to shooting me questions.
その腕に、たけしはいるの？
Would you be there? In the arm? No, I suppose I wouldn't be there.
じゃあ、足をちぎったら？
What if I took off your leg? I mean, of course it's gonna get to, what if I ripped your head off?
胴を切り離したら？
Or if I cut your torso away?
脳を取り出したら？
Or even if I took out your brain? Still gazing at me, she moved her hands and put them to my neck. I felt like I was being hunted. The illusion was intense. She looked straight at me. I couldn't shake myself away from her gaze. I peered deeply into her eyes. I felt like I was being sucked inside her. Those eyes full of that distant light. I wondered where the light originated from.
ねえ、たけしはどこにいるの？
Tell me, Takeshi, where are you? Where am I? Me, Takeshi Kuranari. Since the moment I was born, I had existed as one person, one continuous, linear, cohesive individual. There is no doubt about that fact. This could cause a seizure, probably. I'm not very educated that kind of thing, but some people really can't handle what's going on the screen right now. The me was a baby in the photo album. The me running around at elementary school, and finally the me sitting there. They were all the same organism, called Kuranari Takeshi. So where exactly did the entity called me exist? In the past, people thought the soul existed in a person's heart. Some cultures. I think the Egyptians did. The Jews were like, well, no, I don't know how the yeah, I don't know about the Jews. The Greeks were like had this like these expressions where your your reasoning and your logic was in your heart, and then your mind was like your impulse, your like brain was your impulses and your emotion, like your kind of thing. Your bowels were like gut feelings. That's why we use the term gut feelings. I don't know I don't know if they actually thought about what exactly was what. You would think the ancient world had enough intelligence to actually look at the heart and see that it looked like a pump, but apparently, and see it had these hollow cavities in it. But I guess they didn't. They really had this idea that the fluids within your body were some sort of way that the body communicated, and didn't really understand the concept of nerves. Descartes believed the soul inhabited the pineal gland of the brain. The brain. I wondered briefly if I existed only in my memories. But if that were the truth, then if I lost my memories like the kid, wouldn't that mean I was no longer Kuranari Takeshi? Thoughts, senses, emotions, sensation, character, values. All of those things were nothing but functions of the organ called the brain. For one thing, the me that ran around in elementary school was composed of different molecules than the me there. From purely a material point of view, my younger me was entirely different than my older me. Cells die and are replaced daily. Every cell that is replaced will also die. They say the cells in the entire human body are completely replaced every 3 to 5 years. By comparison, a rock would be composed of the exact same nuclear molecules 5 years before or 5 years hence. But a human body was different. The cells of me lived 5 years ago were not the same as the cells of me then. Even so, the me of 5 years before and the me then were definitely the same. Then just what was it that defined me? And where did that me exist? At this time, Tsugumi continued to hold my neck with her hands. Little by little, she began to apply more pressure. After a time, it became difficult to breathe. My mind began to fog over. I was slowly drifting toward chaos.
そう。あなたという存在に実体はない。
You see, your existence has no substance.
あなたはただの概念だから。
It's concept.
情報、ソフトウェアと言ってもいいかもしれない。
You are just a packet of information. Software.
CD に焼かれた情報に実体はある？
The information written on the CD has no physical body, right?
CD はただのプラスチック。ポリカーボネートという物質の塊。
CD itself is just plastic, hard mass of polycarbonate. I just learned that plastic is also an English borrowed word in Japanese.
それは情報とは何の関連もない。
Polycarbonate too, but like, I think that's Latin or Greek or something, so it's not really English. But that mass has nothing to do with the information it holds.
情報の実体なんかであるはずもない。
Information can't have a physical body, that's impossible.
情報に形はないの。
Information does not have shape or substance.
ただ専用のアプリケーションを用いることによってのみ情報は具現化される。
Embodiment of information only takes place through an application.
しかし具現化されたその情報の形さえ本質ではない。
However, the embodied information itself has no actual body.
本質は情報それ自体を指すのだから。
The essence of information is the information itself.
たけしも同じ。
Takeshi, it is the same for you.
たけしという本質に実体はない。
There is no physical substance to the essence of Takeshi.
なぜなら倉成たけしという人間の本質はただの概念、情報、ソフトウェアに過ぎない。
Instead, the human called Takeshi Kuranari is no more than a concept, information, software.
それは肉体というハードによってのみ再現される。
That essence is realized only through your body, the hardware.
そう。肉体はハードウェア。
That's it, your body is just the hardware. And hardware is also a borrowed word from English and Japanese.
たけしという本質を具現化するためのただの道具。
It's just a device in which the entity of you is embodied. Why do you choke me for? I spit out the words with difficulty. How come you are... Was I making any sense of her? Making any sense to her? I couldn't tell. The weight of Tsugumi's whole body was on my neck.
ダメ、
I can't.
ダメよ。
I can't.
ダメなのよ。
I just can't. For an instant, her grip loosened slightly.
私は逃れることができない。
I can never escape.
この忌まわしい肉体に縛り付けられたまま、
I'm bound eternally to this horrid body.
私の本質は
My
自由に
soul,
なれない。永遠に。
my soul is forever in chains. Tsugumi became teary-eyed. So that was the light deep in her eyes? Tears?
ねえ、たけし、
Hey, Takeshi.
私を殺して。
What? You kill me? Half lying on her side, she grabbed my wrists. She tried to force my hands to her own neck.
ね、
Please,
殺して。
kill me. What are you talking about? I broke away from her grasp. Why are you talking like this?
そう。そうなの。
Yeah, I got it. Tsugumi muttered, her voice shaking, and her gaze drifted off.
臆病なのね。
Just a coward.
育児のない男。
Just a gutless man.
所詮、あなたは男じゃないのよ。
In fact, you're not even a man. That's got nothing to do with this.
お願い。
Please,
殺してよ。
kill me. Why do you... There's so many opportunities for you to die you could have taken, Tsugumi. Why do you have to be killed by Takeshi?
できないの？
Can't you do it? Well, you've demonstrated that you can't do it. Who are you to... You expect more from him? Are you crazy? There's no way I could do such a thing.
どうして？できないのよ。
Why not? Why can't you? Of course I can. I don't need a reason. I don't want to. Why do you want to die so badly anyway? Why do you need someone to kill you?
お願い。だから。
Please, it's because... Forget it.
どうしても嫌だって言うの。
Are you really so unwilling? What, do you expect people to be willing to kill you? You're damn right I'm unwilling.
そう。だったら、
Well, in that case,
分かったわ。
that case, I know.
私が先にあなたを殺してあげるから。
Kill you instead. And with all her strength, Tsugumi slammed me to the floor and started choking me. Gah. This is very inefficient. You need to get the elbow. You need to get him in the crux of your elbow.
殺してあげる。あなたを。そ
I'll
して
give you
私も。
I'll give you the gift of death. Denial. With all her strength, she slammed me down. Slammed me down. This is like Trayvon Martin. Slammed me down. Again and again. Stop it! I would die if she kept it up. No, I was dying. If she doesn't stop, I'm a goner. Attempting to force her off, I scratched her. Something red started to drip from her lips. It was blood. She's bleeding. Blood mixed with tears. Suddenly, her shadow loomed over me. I couldn't see a thing. Then her mouth closed on mine. Our lips pressed hard together. My mouth was filled with a taste of her blood and tears.
殺してやる。
I'm gonna kill you.
殺してやる。
I will kill you. See how hard it is now, Tsugumi? See how hard it is to kill somebody? No. Don't leave me alone.
私を一人にしないで。
No, please don't leave me alone.
お願い。たけし。
Please, Takeshi.
お願い。
Please. Darkness surrounded me. Or maybe it wasn't there at all. The darkness without awareness. I heard only the slight rustle of clothing and Tsugumi's sigh. Hearing that sound, I felt a craziness swell up inside me. Two shadows overlapped to become one, and I plunged into the chaos further and further and became one. Afterwards, I went straight back to the conference room. Both my mind and body were exhausted. Even though little remained of the night, I slept soundly. When I awoke, I felt refreshed and fully recharged. Apparently, no one had noticed my disappearance during the night.
皆さん、おはようございます。
Good morning, everybody.
おはよ
Good morning.
う。おはよう、ソラさん。
Good morning, Sora.
おはよう。
Morning. Yeah, hi there, Sora. A little later than usual, Sora presented herself in the conference room.
どうだったソラ。メンテは順調だったのかな？
How about it, Sora? How did the maintenance go?
ええ、はい。
Well, yes.
システムコンディションは正常です。もっとも、設備の物理的破損については改善のしようがないのですが、
The system is in sound condition, although there would be no way to repair any mechanical damage if it were to occur.
無事、メンテナンスは終了しました。全館において、通常と変わりない機能をお届けできることを保証します。
The scheduled maintenance program checked out. I can assure you that the entire compound is functioning normally, except for just being more than half flooded.
そっか、よかった。
Well, that's good to hear.
私、茜ヶ崎空については、診断の結果、若干の思考ノイズがあることが発見されましたが、
After carefully assessing the situation, I have found a slight noise in my thought processor.
業務上問題はないものとされ、そのままになっています。
Normal functioning will not be compromised, so no modifications are necessary.
ねえねえ、ソラさん、思考ノイズって何？
Hey, Sora, what does that mean? It means that someone overclocked too much.
あ、ココちゃん、それはね、
Well, Coco, it means that
時々私にいたずらをしようとするお客さんがいるんですよ。嘘を教えたり、意地悪をして混乱させたり。
you see, sometimes certain customers want to play pranks on me. They tell lies or try to confuse me.
それで私の記憶や反応がちょっと変になってしまうことがあるんです。そういうのが 考ノイズなんです。
Because of that, my memories or programmed responses get a little out of alignment. It tends to cause issues in my thought processing.
あらかじめ持っている知識と新しい情報とどちらが正しいのか判断できなくなってしまって、
Sometimes older data gets mixed with newer information, making it difficult to determine which is correct.
あまりひどいとシステムをいじって記憶を書き換えることになります。
When this problem becomes severe, it's necessary to fiddle with the system and overwrite the problematic data.
でも今回はそんなトラブルは起こっていませんから安心してくださいね。
However, at this time, nothing too drastic has occurred, so please don't worry. Okay, I just had to clear up Takeshi's stuff.
あとはそうですね。皆さんが眠っていた間の館内センサーの記録のチェックはまだ行われていません。
Other than that, I have yet to complete a full check of the sensor data, which was recorded throughout the compound while you were all sleeping.
新たな浸水などは起こっていないと思いますけど、早めに記録を確認して状況をご報告しますね。
I doubt any new leakages occurred, but I will report back to you once I've checked the sensor data.
うん、そら、頼んだよ。
Thanks, Sora. We're counting on you.
はい、お任せください。
Falling.
そうそう、レミ端末はメンテによってレスポンスが向上したはずです。
By the way, thanks to the maintenance program, the limit terminal response has greatly improved.
レミのトラフィックに問題があったのですが、この問題を解決。現在のレミューの状態に合わせ、端末の通信機能は最適化されました。
There was a slight problem concerning Lemu's traffic, but it has been resolved. Terminal communication functions were optimized to adjust to Lemu's current status. Hey, Sora, what do you mean by traffic? I'd like to know more about what exactly was tweaked in the terminals.
それでは皆さん、そろそろ食事に行きましょうか。
All right, everyone, why don't we go to breakfast? What? Is it me or did she just totally ignore my question? Yes, okay, so something tweaked about the terminals will come up later. And then Sora doesn't want to know what Takeshi. Sora, this is just like a programmatic rejection. Does not want Takeshi to know that. It's like she's trying to protect herself from Takeshi. Oh well. Perhaps he just couldn't hear me. Everybody relocated to the kitchen sandwich shop. As always, I cooked up breakfast for everyone. Looking at their faces as they ate, I suddenly felt relieved. Does that everyone include Tsugumi? The faces of you, Coco, and the kids seemed so happy. Sora just stood by, quietly watching them enjoy the meal. However, Tsugumi was nowhere to be seen. After breakfast, we each had plenty of free time, but there was nothing in particular to do, nothing that had to be done, so without any reason, we all just ended up gathering in the rest area. As always, the vases were filled with blossoming flowers, margarets, marigolds, and roses. Apparently, the flowers were watered periodically by mist from the sprinkler system, helping them maintain their freshness. We didn't see Sora anywhere, but then again, she did say she hadn't finished checking the sensor data. She probably had gone to the control room. It seemed that she could concentrate on performing operations better there. You, who had been talking with Sora earlier, was strolling alone around the top of the circular stage in the middle of the room. The kid Coco and Pee-Pee were chasing each other playfully through the water. I had a feeling I had seen this all before. After having a good stretch, I watched Coco and the others play. The three of them, two kids and an animal, circling the stone statue. They were playing a game of chase, not really caring who was it. Without seeming to get bored, they kept running around and around. I seemed to be making more effect than they were just watching them. Phew, what a sight. It looked like fun, but I quickly gave up any idea of joining in. And at this rate, Tsugumi had yet to make an appearance this morning. Just in case, I left a sandwich for her at the kiosk. I don't know if she'll actually eat it or not. What would I say to her if I met her? So talking to her again would be awkward. She had told me while we were in the jellyfish gondola, kill me. I couldn't. There's no possible way I could do such a thing. But still, why did I feel like I had messed up somehow? Something had come over me. There was nothing I could do. I glanced up and noticed Coco and the others had stopped playing. Huh? What is she doing? With a worried look on his face, the kid was watching Coco intently. PP too had his eyes on her. In the middle of the rest area stood 4 stone statues. Coco was deliberately attempting to scale one of the pedestals.
よいしょ。
Here I go. With a heave, she began to climb up the side. It was an odd sight. I ran to the kid as he stood frozen watching her.
うんせ、うんせ。
Okay, humph. Stumbling as she mounted the pedestal, Coco ended up embracing the statue.
ココ、一体何やってるの？
Coco, what the heck are you doing? The kid asked her curtly. Yahoo!
視点がちょっと高くなるだけで見えるものは随分変わるんだね。
Well, it's all I did was stand a little higher and everything looks all different.
正確には68センチってとこかな。
Let's see, to be exact, 27 inches higher, don't you think? Perched on the top of the pedestal, Coco said this, smiling triumphantly. That's supposed to be 17 and there was a typo?
ねえココ、そのためだけにそこに登ったの？
Hey Coco, is that why you climbed up there?
え？
What?
違うよ。
Well, actually no. Coco answered with her head cocked.
この辺がね、ちょぴっと寂しかったの。
This area right here looks like it's missing something. She's gonna carve in it to it?
寂しい？
Missing something? Which area?
背中、
The statue's back.
背中が寂しいかなと思ったの。
I kind of thought its back looked lonely. Coco stroked the statue's back sympathetically with her tiny hand.
ほいでね、
And well,
ピカプカポカーン、
abracadabra.
マイナスドライバー。
Screwdriver at ya. Uttering a stream of nonsense, Coco suddenly produced a flathead screwdriver in her right hand.
かける2。
Times 2. And another one appeared in her left hand. Hey, where did she get those? But before I could ask her anything, Coco was gripping 2 screwdrivers. And then, into the back of the statue, she began to carve the stone using the tip of the screwdriver.
うんしょ、よいしょ。
Here we go. Cut, cut. Cut, cut, carve, carve. And within moments, the back of the statue was covered with gashes. It was incomprehensible. I just couldn't understand it. First, she says the back looks lonely, and then she starts gouging it. For a while, the kid and I just gazed at her with our jaws dropped.
何やってるの？
Hey, what are you doing? The kid yelled as he came back to his senses.
掘ってるの。
I'm carving.
刻んでるの。
Can't you see? I'm carving.
この石像に傷を刻み込んでるの。
I'm etching some marks into the stone. Really, etching some marks. I can tell that by watching you, Coco. That's not what I mean.
傷を？どうして？
What for? The kid beat me to the question.
それは
Well, it's because
寂しかったから。
I was feeling lonesome.
それにあのね、
And anyway, I was
悔しいの。
feeling sad.
悔しかったんだ。ここは。
I was feeling sad. She muttered in a tiny voice. She worked with great dexterity using a screwdriver in each hand. The tip of the drivers dug into the stone, screeching and forming tiny grooves.
悔しい？
Sad?
今日まで誰も助けに来てくれないってことは、ここたち見捨てられちゃったってことでしょ？
Well, nobody's coming to rescue us, right? We've been abandoned.
だからちょっといたずらしてやれってそう思って。
So what harm is there in wrecking the place a little? The kid and I looked at each other. It's all gonna implode anyway, she's right. Coco looked back at her handiwork. The gashes had begun to take on a shape. It was a human form like a stick person. Its tip formed a round head.
何これ？
Who's that?
ここだよ。
That's me, Coco.
こっちがピピとチャミ。
And look, this is Pee-Pee and Chammy. Looking more carefully, I could see two unusual animal figures beside the human form.
それにね。
Coco's been talking to Tsugumi. Okay, and then one of the shapes had a particularly large head. It was only half finished.
これはソラさん。
This is Sora.
ソラさん、美人だから描くの難しいね。
Sora is pretty, which makes her hard to draw.
むふふ、むふふ、ふふりのふ。
They didn't bother transliterating that for some reason. Singing a cute little song, Coco continued to carve. She seemed entirely absorbed in what she was doing. Somehow I could relate to her desire to throw herself into something.
器物損壊かな、こういうの。
That's destroying private property. It's vandalism. Hey, relax, kid. Now's not the time to be so uptight. Coco's into her work. You can't blame her. Right.
よーし、次は。
There we go. Next. Uh-oh. Because of her unsteady position on the pedestal, Coco suddenly lost her balance.
危ない！
Did the kid break his arm in this timeline? Hey, be careful. Without hesitating, the kid jumped forward, steadying her body. He grabbed her by the hips to prevent her from slipping down and carefully lowered her to sit on the pedestal.
ありがとう。
Oops, thank you.
足元気をつけてね。
Watch your step, okay? Okay.
あ、そうだ。翔ちゃんも一緒にやろうか。
I know. Why don't you join me, kiddo?
え？
You mean...
やろう一緒にやろ
Come on, please. Let's both try it.
う。ここんとこにね、翔ちゃんとナッキュを描いて。
You can carve a picture of yourself and knock you here.
でね、この辺にタケピョンを彫ろうと思ってるんだ。
I was thinking of carving Takepyon over here.
ドライバー1個貸してあげる。
Okay, here's one of my screwdrivers.
あ、うん。サンキュー。
Well, okay, thanks. Energized by Coco's enthusiasm, the kid took the screwdriver and mounted the pedestal to join her. Be careful not to fall yourself, kid.
大丈夫だよ。
I'll be alright. Don't slip, Coco. Why don't you let me hold you up?
どうしようかな。
Huh? I wonder if that's the...
大丈夫だよ。
She'll be alright. I was about to stretch my hands toward her, but the kid stopped me.
僕が支えるから。
Don't worry, I got her. The kid took hold of Coco's empty hand. While embracing the statue in a hug, Coco and the kid steadied each other. And using their free hands, they both began carving shapes. The statue didn't say a word, only stood silently pointing at the ceiling. A while later, what was left in stone was the carved images of 6 people and 2 animals. There was evidence of our existence here. Theory confirmed somewhat. Okay, something kinda got answered. Like, since that document I made after just starting Takeshi's route, nothing was resolved. It just opened up, like, the mysteries I outlined there, it gave no more hints at answers to any of them until then. Then actually, like, confirmed something I thought might happen. Finally. That afternoon, after a light lunch, I looked around but couldn't find you anywhere.
ユウ？食べ終わってすぐツバイトの警備室に行ったよ。
Looking for you, she ate lunch and then went to the security office in Zweite stock. Might be like this be you trying to figure out information about her dad, but Sara's not here in this timeline, so that's gonna have to turn out differently.
なんかね、ナッキュ調べ物があるんだって。
She said something about doing some research. Research? I wonder what that could be.
さあね。
She didn't say exactly.
気になるなら、ユウに直接聞いた方がいいんじゃないかな。
If you really want to know, why don't you go ask her yourself? Yeah, I guess you're right.
ソラさんはどこ行ったの？
What about Sora? Where'd she go?
制御室に入ったままみたいだね。忙しいのかな。さっき端末で声かけてみたんだけど、取り込み中だからって。
She's still in the control room. I spoke to her through the terminal intercom, but she seemed really busy. As usual, Tsugumi was nowhere to be seen, but the sandwich I left at the kiosk was gone. Come to think of it, neither you, Sora, nor Tsugumi had said a word to me all morning. Well, it's the you that's the strange one. Something's up, I can tell. At any rate, I figured I would go search for them. But I didn't know where should I go. Okay. Just in case it only lets me do 2 out of 3, I'm saving. So I would go you for use the one who's probably not like going to be all interact with me weirdly, right? Climbing the stairs, I headed towards the security office on the 2nd floor. And as usual, the room smelled faintly of smoke.
あ、クラナリー。
Hi there, Takeshi. Noticing me enter, you turn toward me from the console. Say, you haven't been smoking, have you? I only said it in jest, but you look slightly
そ
offended.
んなわけないでしょうが。
Wait, how could you
タ
ask?
バコは20歳になってからだよ。
You know the rules, no smoking until you're legal. He's like, you know the rules. The rules.
それをさっぴいたとしてもさ、よくもまあそんなことが言えるわね。
You could joke if you want, but I can't believe you'd say that.
ほれ、この私のピチピチフレッシュな持ち肌を見てごらんなさいな。
I mean, just look at my fresh, silky skin.
これぞまさに乙女の柔肌ってやつよ。
This is the soft skin of a lady.
あんたみたいなスモーカーには土台無理な美しさよね。
This is the kind of beauty that's impossible for a smoker like you, huh? You smoke smugly, mocking me. Hey, I don't smoke.
あ、そうなの。
Oh, really?
ふーん。
Anyway, let's stop all this stupid talk about smoking. I just wanted to ask you something. The kid said you were doing some research.
え、
Huh? He blabbed about me?
少年、そんなこと言ってたの？
The kid said that? You gave me a slightly surprised look.
クラナリ、少年からはなんて聞いてる？
So tell me, Takeshi, what exactly did the kid say? I don't remember exactly, but he just mentioned you were researching something, so I thought I'd ask you myself.
そっか。なら教えようかな。
Well, in that case, I guess I'll let you in on it. Turning back to the console, you began to type.
クラナリはもう覚えてないかもしれないけど、
You may not remember this, Takeshi, because this was from the beginning of your route, but I just so happened to play a whole other route that was all about this, so yes, I definitely remember it.
私ずっといろいろ調べてたのよ。レミューのこと。
Remember that you thinks her name is Yubi Saiharu Kana in this route. That might make a difference. I've been researching stuff about Lemu for quite a while now. She spoke with her eyes glued to the monitor.
それにお父さんのこと。
And then there's the thing about my father. Huh? Or have I told you about him yet? It must have been the first day I came to this place. When you startled me by suddenly starting up the dolphin carousel. I had heard about him then. So, have you found something? Not yet. You shook her head slowly. Eyeing the monitor, she hit some more keys and entered a code.
パスワードさえ発見できれば。
If only I could find the password. Password.
それさえあれば、レミのあらゆるデータベースにアクセスすることが可能になるの。
If I just had the password, I could access all the data inside Lemay.
通常、レミのシステム本体に関わるデータは、プロテクトでブロックされてる。
Normally, all the data concerning Lemay's system has security protection.
それに、開発スタッフの個人的なデータもね。
And of course, the personal data of the development staff as well.
そのプロテクトを解くための鍵、レミのセキュリティロックを外せる緊急用の最終パスワード、それを探してるのよ。
And so I'm hunting for the key to unlock that protection, an emergency override. Oh, so that's what you've been up
え
to.
え。
Yeah,
でも、もうお手上げかな。
give up. You stop typing. Taking her eyes off the console, she looked at me. Hey, by the way, if you disconnect Lemiz's security protection, what will happen to Sora?
空？
Sora? Well, since Sora is an AI program inside Lemiz's system, won't she be affected?
そうね。
Yes.
もしプロテクトが解ければ、空は当然裸になる。
Naturally, if the protection is removed, Sora will be totally exposed, naked. You mean literally her RSG image will be naked? Naked?
あ、クラナリ？今なんか変な想像したでしょ。
I'm Takeshi. Did you just think of something kinky? Yes. Me?
裸って言っても、空の映像がヌードに変わるわけじゃないよ。
When I say naked, I don't mean Sora's image will be nude. I wasn't thinking about that at all. Oh, well, if you say so.
本当かな。怪しいな。
Yeah, sure, you seem pretty suspect to me.
いいけど、
I don't really care, but
空の思考とか記憶、データとして見られるすべては丸裸になってしまうわけよね。
Sora won't become nude, but all of her thoughts, memories, and various data will be accessible. That's an invasion of privacy.
そういう問題じゃないと思うけどな。
Well, not exactly, really. Come on, wait a minute. Okay, so if you find that password, will you be... Well, you mean you can save Sora?
助ける？
Save her? I mean, you could copy all her source data to a high-capacity hard drive or something. And then take that data out of here by hand, right?
うん、できるよ。
Well, yeah, it could be done.
でもそんな必要ないんじゃない？
Except that won't be necessary. You spoke coldly. Huh?
空は何も私たちが助けるまでもなく助かるのよ。
We don't have to save Sora, she's saved already. How's that?
空の実態はレミューの中にあるわけじゃないの。
Fact is, Sora doesn't actually reside in Lamu. Oh, another answer. Okay, so Sora is backed up. Boom, second thing answered. Okay.
インゼルヌルに置かれてるスパコン。そこにこそ空の頭脳はあるのよ。
But precisely, the brains of Sora reside in a supercomputer on Incel Null. Okay, then what did Sora exactly do to preserve herself, though? She wouldn't have to do anything.
私の言ってることわかる？
Are you following me?
つまりレミューが浸水しようと沈没しようと爆発して粉々になろうと空の存在が消えてなくなるわけじゃない。
Meaning that even if Lamu sinks, floods, or explodes, Sora won't be damaged at all.
だってここにいるわけじゃないんだから。
Because she's not even here.
空のいる場所は海の上。
She really lives above the ocean.
私たちから見れば文字通り空は空にいるってことになるわけ。
So from our point of view, just like her name means... Name means in just there's no in Japanese. It's just like her name means. Sora is in the sky. With that, Yu pointed her finger toward the ceiling. Lured by her pointing finger, I looked up, as if I expected to find Sora there. Naturally, she was nowhere to be seen. Hey, on a second. How could that be? All data communication lines with Incel Null have been cut. They're useless. Sora herself said that. It doesn't make sense. If you say Sora exists above us, then how could she appear before us here?
そうなのよ。
That's what I mean. Suddenly, Yu's voice level dropped. So what?
クラナリもおかしいと思わない？
Come on, Takeshi, you think it's strange too, right?
空はメンテナンスの時にレミの通信機能を最適化したって言ったけど。
Thor said that thanks to the maintenance program, communication functions were optimized.
そもそも定期メンテナンスは通常インゼルヌル上のマスタースパコンと館内のレミ端末が連携して行われるの。
In order to perform periodic maintenance, the master supercomputer on Incel Null has to be linked with LeMay here.
それがきちんと終了したということは、つまり
And since she said the maintenance checked out fine, that means
実はインゼルヌルとの通信経路はあるかもしれないのよ。
there's a data communication link up and running somewhere. Or of course, Sora lied. What? Why would Sora keep this from us?
ここから先は私の推測だけど、
What to say is only speculation, but you furrowed her brows together.
誰かが作為的に事実を隠している可能性がある。
I think it's possible that someone is intentionally hiding the facts from us. You're saying that Sora could be lying to us?
ううん、そうとは限らないよ。
No, it doesn't necessarily mean that. You shook her head as she spoke.
空が黙っていることを含め、何者かのプログラムによって仕組まれたことなのかもしれない。
On the other hand, someone might have created a program to orchestrate the whole thing, including keeping Sora silent.
あるいは空はこのことに全く無関係で何も知らされていないし気づいてもいないのかもしれない。
Could be that Sora may not be involved. Maybe she doesn't know anything or just hasn't noticed. Yeah, but she knows about branching timelines, which is sus.
今のところはわからないよ。本当はどうなのかなんてさ。
But for now, I don't know if it's true or not.
私の推測が正しいのか、それとも単なる勘違いなだけなのか。
Whether my suspicions are correct or all just a misunderstanding.
それはプロテクトを解いた後に考えればいいこと。
Anyway, about that after I cracked the protection.
とにかく今、私はここのコンソールからインゼルヌルのスパコンにあるはずのデータにアクセスしてる。
Now I'm just trying to access the supercomputer on Incel Null from this console.
本当にアクセスできるかどうかは全然わからないけど、データがそこにあるらしいってことは分かってるの。
I don't know whether I can even gain access, but I'm pretty that's where the data is.
どこにデータがあるかまではもう分かったのよ。
Yep, at least I know where the data is.
分かったのはいいんだけど、
Well, at least it's a start. You suddenly became more upbeat.
このプロテクトがまたなかなか解けなくって頑固でね。
Cracking the security protection is going to be a real pain, this stubborn code.
だから果たしてそこに何があるのかというところまではまだまだたどり着けてないってわけ。
So what exactly awaits hidden inside? It's a little too soon to go there.
結局何にも分かってないのと一緒だよ。
Till I can get inside, it's the same as not knowing a thing. You said this and then gave a big shrug. Yeah. But I still think it's loads better than knowing nothing at all.
そうだよね。
Well, maybe you're right. You gave me a smile. She then popped her neck and rotated her stiff shoulders.
さてと、
Now then,
もうちょっとだけ頑張ってみようかな。
back to work. I'll write you good luck. There's still time.
オッケー。
Okay. Turning her back to me, you began to peck at the keyboard.
それにしてもさ、
Still, you know. Without stopping her hands, she muttered quietly.
昔からお母さんに聞かされてたお父さんの癖。
Just tell me all about my father's habits.
わかるもんだね。
So I know there are clues to be found.
こんななんでもないような無機質なコンピューターのプログラムにも結構売ってるんだ。
Decoding something as inorganic as a computer program is possible because
人間の癖ってさ、
even programmers have habits. For a long time, you stared at the monitor. She didn't look my way, so I couldn't read her expression anyway. But I could tell by her shaky voice she was probably crying. Without saying a word, I slipped out of the security office. Is Sora really an incel null? If so, no matter whether Lemu was crushed or not, she'd still be okay. Tell me, Takeshi, after you escape from here safely, what's the first thing you want to do? Were her words just a flimsy attempt at compassion? I feel like I've gained a new perspective on human life. Come on, everybody. Believe in tomorrow so you can live today. Were these words just robotic, programmed phrases? Simple utterances encoded to pacify and comfort humans? Suddenly, I felt a distance between Sora's existence and my own. It was time for dinner. Okay. Trying all three. I don't know how much this matter. It's gotta matter because this is like day. This is like that whole day 4 in Never 7 where you have these big branches you can go down. Turning down a corridor after climbing the emergency stairs, I came out in front of the infirmary. Huh? The door abruptly opened in my face and a person came flying out and then dodged right past me. In a flash, the figure was gone without even seeming to notice me. Who was that? I looked around quickly, trying to see who the person was. It was Tsugumi. Hey. I started to call out, but hesitated. The events of from the night before popped into my mind. I could stop her, but then what? In the meantime, all I could see was Tsugumi's back fading further away. Hey, wait up, where are you going? Barely getting the words out, I dashed after her. It's like typical protagonist. Well, what would the good with this do? Well, I gotta do it because we gotta have a conversation. I ran up because we gotta fill this plot branch with something. I ran up a corridor and hurriedly climbed the stairs. But the sound of her feet faded down the end of the emergency corridor. Her figure had already rounded the corner out of sight. Tsugumi! I was out of breath. I had run about 30 yards, but damn it, Tsugumi, you sure are fast. I grumbled after her, although she was now well out of earshot. It didn't feel like I could catch up with her at all. Her speed was unnatural. She was still supposed to be recuperating. Hey, Tsugumi. I called her name without much hope, but there was no answer. In the end, it seemed Tsugumi hadn't noticed. It hadn't seemed that she was trying to avoid me, but maybe I was better off this way. Giving up, I went back down the stairs and returned to the corridor. I decided to stop by the nearby security office. Oh, okay. So that doesn't matter. You actually end up talking to you anyway. So this is like neutral. Let's try the control room. I tried the control room. I pushed the button to open the door and it slid open. Sora, are you in here? I called out her name but got no response. The console was silent. That's strange. I wonder if this means she finished checking the sensor data. But if that was the case, I thought she would report back to us. Sora, where are you? Hey, Sora. I expected to find her hiding in the corner somewhere. I called out for her again, but still got no response. Next, I touched the terminal. Though I didn't know how to operate it, it seemed to be responding. Half of Lemire data suddenly appeared on the Lemire's monitor, but it didn't tell me anything. There was still no sign of Sora. I decided to check somewhere else. I headed for the second floor. Okay. And then Tsugumi. I don't know how to do skip in this correctly. So I'm just gonna do the late, Skip until next plot selection. Yeah, I don't. I don't want to. I don't want to switch to the next choice because I haven't got to a choice yet.
くらくら私それパスそれそのでももしはだ空でも空インあたつまだって空あたそうくらなりも空それが実ここから先誰か空があるいは今の私それはとにかく本当にこんだけさてもうオッケーそれ昔はこんな人間
Okay. So you get all the verbosity if you go order control room, then infirmary, then security office. And I'll stop right here. Yeah, the stuff with Sora. Yeah, I thought it was going to be super cringe. I thought I was really going to hate it, but it actually turned out to be kind of entertaining, surprisingly. I guess you just got to give the game a chance. Don't judge it prematurely. Okay. Yeah, this is like that's a right click menu I was going through there, so it probably didn't show up on recording. We are just talking about Sora being fine no matter what happens. Okay, and then I'm going to return to title. Yes, save the system. Yes, save the system data. Does that show up on the recording? Yes, it does. Okay. There's a pop-up version of that too that happens when you exit the game that probably does not show up on recording because it's a separate window. Skip the intros. Look where we are in the game. Got to 100 pass. Sora's Rainbow, Awakening, Useless Struggle. Pygmalion. Okay, Spirited Away, Suspicion 3 pass to Sora. Nibbled Away. Is that the, I know it's referencing the hamster, but friends, okay, clawing at the nest, lurking in the dark, unknown clouds. We were missing a scene here. That happens between clawing at the nest and lurking in the dark. So between when you discovered the hamster nuts and you found, is that what happens if you don't push the button? Unknown clouds, missing another scene, then chains. Huh. So there's some stuff about Tsugumi here that's like missing. Huh. Because I'm pretty sure chains is Tsugumi's like weird scene. Okay. Crisis point. We're still on Takeshi's rain route. We have not differentiated. What? Wait, whoa. That's like short. What? I just now noticed that there's like there's only 14 scenes in between here. It's like an entire. That's like an entire ending thing. What? Then it goes to the kid. Huh? Does Takeshi only have one ending? That's weird. That's weird. Okay. I think maybe how it works is Takeshi only has one ending you can get at first before you play as the kid. And his other endings you can't get until you've done the kid routes. So, that's why they appear after the kids stuff. But none of them are, or we haven't like skipped down there or anything. Okay. That's my guess. Well, that's it.